Gaming Bolt presents 14 most unsettling video game bosses. Video game bosses are often the most terrifying enemies in a game, usually because they are exceptionally strong and difficult to beat and require total mastery of the game's mechanics by the player. Other times, however, developers decided to make our worst nightmares manifest by making some genuinely disturbing and unsettling designs for their bosses, like something out of a Lovecraftian nightmare, in some cases literally. This is 14 of those unsettling bosses. Ultimate Evil, Splatterhouse 2. Splatterhouse 2 is a game that revels in being excessively gory and violent, a quality that endears it to a lot of people, despite the fact that critics don't seem to like the game all that much. True to its overarching tone of excessive gore, the final boss of the game, called the Ultimate Evil, is a giant, screaming mass of disgusting-looking flesh. Sure, there's every chance that by the time you get to this boss, you become immune to the game's violent antics, but there's no denying that this is a boss with a very unsettling design. HYDRA, Shinobi 3: Return of the Ninja Master. The third boss encounter in Shinobi 3 against HYDRA, also known as the body weapon, is a decidedly memorable one. HYDRA is essentially a mass of dumped biological weapons. These failed bioweapons were dumped into sewers, which were full of acid, but somehow managed to adapt to their surroundings and turn into this pulsating, throbbing, creepy-looking blob of veins, tentacles, eyes, and bulbous biological material. Guardian, The Evil Within 2. The Guardian has to be one of the most terrifying beings you will ever encounter in the Evil Within games, and that's saying a lot. There's just so much here that can make you wet your pants right where you stand. From that manic grin on one of its faces to the unsettling giggling sound that it constantly makes, from the way it cackles horrifically every time it spots a prey to how it has a huge buzzsaw for a limb instead of a regular arm. Truly the stuff of nightmares. Human Reaper Larva, Mass Effect 2. The Human Reaper Larva, the final boss of Mass Effect 2, isn't necessarily a frightening one, but there's just something wrong about it. Perhaps it's the implications behind the entire thing. The Reapers have, after all, abducted multiple planets worth of humans, and used their combined biological material to fuse with their own artificial tech to create this half-living, half-artificial monstrosity. It's messed up, but not in an in-your-face way like something from a Resident Evil game might be, but still, just as effective. Sepulcher, Silent Hill Homecoming. Just consider for a moment what the Sepulcher represents. It is a manifestation of a person's guilt over having buried his own son alive. Even going beyond that, it just looks horrifying. A weird cross between a decaying corpse and a rotting tree, with haphazard outgrowths that look like both a plant and a dead human. Hell, even its movements are incredibly unsettling, with it crawling using its long, spindly arms and dragging its entire body behind itself. Even for Silent Hill, this is particularly horrifying, and that is saying something. 02, Kirby 64: The Crystal Shards. Of all games, you wouldn't expect Kirby, a kid-friendly game about a cute pink blob, to be mentioned in a list such as this one. But here we are. 02 is a pretty tough deal to contend with, because not only is he the revived form of an earlier antagonist with tyrannical aspirations to rule the galaxy, but also because he seems to be fused with the form of a fallen angel. His single dark red eye provides a major contrast to his wings and his halo, giving him a weird, unnerving look. Definitely not something you would expect to see in a Kirby game, of all things. GOFER, GRADIUS 2. The boss fight against GOFER in GRADIUS 2 isn't a particularly hard one. GOFER doesn't have a lot of offensive moves, and the few attacks he does unleash are pretty easy to deal with. So no, this boss is unsettling, mostly because of his appearance. He's essentially a large head, but he doesn't look like an ordinary head. His features are twisted and contorted, he's red in color, he has a huge eye that keeps on blinking, and he has an exposed brain. Sure, as far as difficulty is concerned, GOFER may not be all that memorable, but his design is particularly creepy. Mystery Boss, Low G-Man. Just like GOFER, the mystery boss in Low G-Man is actually pretty easy to contend with. This is, in fact, yet another example of a boss being creepy by design, mostly because of what it looks like. It's a shapeless, formless blob of something, and that's honestly the best way to describe it. The fact that it shoots out humanoid, fireball-spewing creatures at you every now and then only makes it that much weirder. Super DIMENTIO, Super Paper Mario. Man, Super Paper Mario could be really freaking weird when it wanted to be, and that actually happened a lot, surprisingly enough. From the implications of the boss to the weird, bizarre music that is associated with this fight, there's just so much here that sticks out in memory. Super DIMENTIO is an amalgamation of multiple beings, has distorted features that bear a resemblance to Luigi, and best, or worst of all, when you decapitate it, it visually still clings to life for a few passing moments before its head literally explodes. This is a Mario game, people. Gaping Dragon, Dark Souls. As fans of the Soulsborne games know very well, regular old dragons are nothing to be afraid of. No, what you need is a hellish, enormous dragon with 4 limbs, 4 wings, and a huge ribcage that gapes open to reveal a set of tens, if not thousands of bones. Or are they teeth? That's what you need. No, it's not Overboard, it's friggin' Dark Souls. It's the bare minimum, unless, you know, you're normal. EBBRIETAS, Bloodborne. Oh hey, something else from Software. Honestly, this list could have been made all of From Software games, but we decided to stick with just 2 of their monstrosities. And the Daughter of the Cosmos really is a monstrosity. She's an absolute nightmare. Not only does she look weird and disgusting, she's deceptively agile, has a vast and terrifying array of attacks both long range and short, and can deal massive amounts of damage to the player in a single blow. Par for the course for Bloodborne, surely, but a walking nightmare for most sane people. Pyramid Head, Silent Hill 2. Well, of course we were going to talk about Pyramid Head. Hell, this beast is half the reason we even made this list. We've seen a lot of weird, messed up shit over the course of 8 Silent Hill games, but rarely has any one of them chilled us to our very bones the way Pyramid Head has. Every encounter with this monstrosity is absolutely terrifying, and it scares you not by screaming bloody murder in your face, but by being truly horrifying. The way it sometimes looks at you directly, the sounds its weapons make as it walks towards you, the way you sometimes have to keep completely still and hope that it doesn't notice you. Truly a classic, quintessential walking nightmare. SCARFACE, Smash TV. SCARFACE from Smash TV is a weird, giant mechanical floating head that shoots projectiles at you and can also be a pretty tough battle to get through. Its movements are rapid and often unpredictable. It can also take a lot of damage before it finally goes down, and its attacks are quite damaging and hard to avoid themselves. The boss also changes visually as the fight progresses, and you deal more damage, and halfway through sheds its outer skin, for lack of a better word, and reveals a giant, menacing skull underneath. DEERHAUNTER, TIMESPLITTERS Future Perfect. TIMESPLITTERS DEERHAUNTER is a particularly creepy boss fight, and it just jumps out at you out of nowhere. It starts off with you looking at a creepy looking wall-mounted head trophy of a deer, until the wall it's on cracks and crumbles, revealing that it's not just a head, no, it's an entire muscly humanoid body with that weird, creepy deer head attached to it. Oh, and also instead of hands, it has hooked claws that it uses to attack you, because a creepy, dead deer's head attached to an undead body wasn't enough. And that about does it for this video. If you enjoyed what you watched and want to see more from Gaming Bolt, you can always hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell icon next to it. That way you will never miss any of our videos.